We're so proud and privileged and honored to have with us the Minister of Agriculture of the State of Israel, Alon Shuster. Needless to say, Minister Shuster, God willing, when the pandemic passes, we're looking forward to hosting you here in the Hamptons. We have hosted since the founding of the synagogue every prime minister of Israel, every president of Israel, practically every minister of Israel. So we are looking forward to your debut here at the Hampton Synagogue. And thank you for joining us for this conversation. My first question, that you were appointed Minister of Agriculture only 8 weeks ago in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. How has the pandemic affected imports and exports of fruits and vegetables? And can Israel sufficiently feed its citizens on Israel's crops alone?
Okay, I can tell you this. First, more than half of the calories that citizens, inhabitants of Israel consume are imported from overseas.
Interesting.
If we count the fact that our cattle, our cows and chickens are fed by imported wheat or grains, so it will be higher. But maybe 90% of the fresh food, like vegetables, fruits, eggs, poultry, is growing in Israel. So we eat fresh food that is made, grown in Israel. Now, the COVID-19 showed the whole world, and to Israel is also, the fundamental importance of self-production in industry and in making food also. We are very glad that most of the branches, most of the crops that we are growing were not affected deeply because of the coronavirus, simply because we have to walk outside, and if we under in the greenhouse, there are few people, so most of the production of food in Israel was not affected badly. Some grows like flowers and some what you put in the salad, tavlinim in Hebrew, spices, I believe. The green one, celery, but most were not affected badly. So we are okay, and but of course there was a great help, a mental help, by the fact that every person could understand the importance of self-production.
How has the COVID-19 affected exports from Israel to other countries?
Well, there is still affection from at least two reasons. One, the fact that the the consumer overseas decline, reduce their the wishes to buy, in the first month at least. Then there was the problem of shipping from one country to another. In some products, there was a problem of willing or permission of transforming food from country to country because of the worries about what happened but I think things are improving now, and more aircraft by air or by sea, more production, more import is taking place. And generally, I think that at least the agriculture, I'm not familiar with the facts about generally about the products or the import from Israel, but I think if we take out the flowers and spices, we are quite in a reasonable situation in my little kingdom. Still, we have some other challenges. We are about to have a new budget, and the Ministry of Treasury has some new ideas that we have to fight and to adapt some of them and and try to defeat other ideas. So we are very busy in internal issues. My main goal, I think, is to build together with the Ministry of Treasury to build an atmosphere, economical atmosphere that will give the agriculture the feeling that is really a good idea to keep on their way of living. And it will be a good idea that their daughters and sons and the new generation to enter and to invest their money and their life in produce food for Bnei Israel.
Sounds, the fact that you're involved in these internal negotiations, it's wonderful news. It sounds like politics is returning to a state of normalcy in Israel.
You said Malthus?
The what?
Who is returning to Israel?
No, I'm saying the fact that you're in these intense negotiations, it sounds like Israel is going back to a state of normalcy. That's the way the...
Oh, yes.
Of course.
I understand.
That's the way.
Well,
yes. My next question, that previously, before you entered the Knesset in 2019, you served as mayor of Shar HaNegev in the desert, which paralleled the northern part of the Gaza Strip, home to many kibbutzim and farmland. And they had many difficulties along the Gaza border, including the balloon terror and other attacks. What did you do to protect the farms and keep the community together? What further steps can you take as Minister of Agriculture?
So you're talking about the security situation in my area?
Yes.
Well, I think we use the word resilience, our possibility to confront the permanent threats that came from Gaza. It was permanent and caprice. You cannot know when the siren will hear. Just 2 weeks ago, I had to go out carefully, but very committed from the shower. I was in the shower, in the bathroom, to the security room because they shoot two suddenly, in this time, suddenly two missiles, two rockets. So The main issue is to give to you people the sense, the feeling that they will never stay alone in any circumstances. Old people, young, they will be always accompanied by people from their community. And it's the same, not just in the kibbutzim or moshavim, which are a community, a great kehillah, great, like you know, but also in a city like Sderot or
Right.
Netivot, in each place, in each community, in each little town, we have a resilience center. We are training all the time in order to react very quickly in terms of any aspect of our life, social, culturally, health, and etc., logistic. And well, my wife is a therapist. She's a social worker, making a lot of therapists in Sderot and in Shara Negev, and we we live the whole generation, almost 2 decades, in this situation, and we are now growing in the city of Sderot, in the kibbutzim. Many people are coming, many new and young families are coming to our area, and in the same 20 years, we walked together through very dramatic changes in our kibbutzim, from a very type of traditional kibbutz to much more private type of life, still with a wonderful, very massive social net, economy and social net that we keep very close. And well, we see a lot of good in our deeds. We are very happy, actually.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And for my last question, my final question. So, Minister Shuster, I have a very keen interest in seeing greater cooperation between Israel and the Gulf states.
Okay.
When I refer to the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and I have led this effort globally now for 12 years. And I'm sure you've read many, many articles in Yediot Achronot or the Jerusalem Post of my work with the royal families in the Gulf. And I've heard from different rulers of the Gulf that with their resources and technology, with their resources and wealth and Israel's brain trust and technology, that in partnership, the Gulf and Israel could create the greatest economic region in the world. Do you foresee any ways of cooperation between your Ministry of Agriculture and the Gulf states in terms of focusing on food security, preservation of the water supply, or just some of the cutting-edge agricultural technologies that are now being developed in Israel? Could you see that kind of cooperation? Would you be interested in seeing that kind of cooperation with your neighboring Gulf states?
I think it's a wonderful question, and hearing you made me be exciting. I think it's one of our dreams here in this part of the world, isolated from the modern world, and all around, or many of our neighbors are still enemies. So I can tell you that when I get out of my role as the mayor of Sha'ar HaNegev after 16 years, I was asked all the time what I want to do. I want to be the first consulate of Israel in Gaza.
Interesting.
In Gaza, yes. It's not real option now, but it's a wonderful question, and I really think that my ministry and share our wonderful knowledge in any kind of technology, focusing, of course, in agro-technology, in food tech, in question of using water in arid and semi-arid areas. I think it's important for the security of the state of Israel. It's important because we all share the same world, the same globus, and we need to help people all around the world to feed themselves, and especially people that some years ago, not many years ago, they were defined as enemies. And it's so exciting. It's so good to know that we might use economy, human knowledge, new technology in order to make a better world.
So listen, I may be able to fulfill your dreams. First, I said I may be able to fulfill your dream. First, you should know what one of my good friends is Ambassador El Amadi, who is the Qatari representative to Gaza. So God willing that I can bring you to Doha or to Dubai, to Abu Dhabi, as I've done with some of the leading Israeli personalities in health. I was the one who arranged for Yitzhak Kreis, the Director General Sheba, to come with me to Manama, to Bahrain last year for the Peace to Prosperity Conference. I'm putting you on my agenda. I want to see if I can help fulfill your dream.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
God willing, next week, when we're no longer on camera, I'll reach out to you and let's see, because I know that there are areas of cooperation between Israel and the Gulf in the agricultural field. And I very much would like to see if I can be of help to facilitate these introductions for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For me, as a child that was born next to Gaza, and after those 20 years, it will be like a dream that come true. If I can be part of making enemies friends.
Well, let's remember, not only are we the great dreamers of the world, but Am Yisrael, we're the people of hope. Hatikva, our national anthem is the hope. So God willing, you and I will continue this conversation, and let's see if we can help make your dream a reality, my friend.
Thank you so much.
All right, I say Bahatzlacha, and so we will continue our conversation off camera. Thank you.
Toda Rabbi.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.